What's going on, guys? It's good to be back on a Monday morning, I guess. Well, I'm recording this in the afternoon at my time, but it's good to be back on the new week of trading. This is probably the last day that I'm going to trade. There might be a setup tomorrow. Obviously, the markets close early tomorrow, and then Wednesday is Christmas, so I'm not going to be trading on Wednesday. And we actually have news on Thursday. I believe it's unemployment, so we'll see how that turns out. So I'll just keep you guys updated throughout the rest of the week to see what actually ends up playing out, or if I do end up taking anything. But that's besides the point. Let's go ahead and get straight into the recap here. So I'm going to do this in replay mode. I know I don't do this often at all, but I've done it once in the past before. But I think this is good for you guys just to understand what I'm doing and just kind of the whole thought process I have behind this entire trade. So I can't replay both of them at the same time. I wish that would be really nice, but I can't do that today, unfortunately. As I was looking at the chart today, I was watching this 4-hour gap here. So initially coming into the day, you can take a look here. This candle here at 6 a.m., this is the 4-hour time frame, by the way. This candle here on ES, right here at 6 a.m., we actually ran this 4-hour low and failed to run the 4-hour low, creating a failure swing on ES, which in turn created an SMT, right? Now, SMTs should be protected, so this low here at 6 a.m. should have been protected if this was the actual reversal or turning point of the trade. Since this wasn't the turning point of the trade, or the smart money reversal, whatever you want to call it, that's basically why this SMT failed. So let's hop down to the 1-minute time frame, right? So we did have that SMT in the morning, but we had low resistance here, and I wanted to see how we'd react inside of those levels. So go ahead and play out price a little bit. So we get in this, we put in a swing high here, kind of reject off of it, and we come back up, put in another swing high while taking out the high there, and pretty much just sell off a little bit. So now at this point, what I'm waiting for is just to see what is happening at these highs, kind of waiting for NQ to tell us what it wants to do. So at this point, I'm looking at this high here, and I noticed that ES fails to run these highs, but NQ does run the high. So at that point, I'm just waiting for just more confirmation to see exactly how we want to start to push in either direction. So here we are. It's just a lot of chop, nothing going on, no entries yet. Just still going around, just chop, 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 chop. All right, it's moving a little bit, but not exactly what we want to see. Okay, so now that we're here, right, realize that we also do have an SMT at this low, right? We took this low here at 950, swept this low here at 843, and this low on NQ failed to take out this low. So we had an SMT here. I wanted to see how we would react at this level here at premium and discount. Wanted to see if we could stay within this area to push higher, or see if we could stay within here and then just kind of slowly sell off to, you know, whatever, drawn liquidity lower. I always have drawn liquidities lower, and I always have drawn liquidities higher depending on what the market wants to do. But I generally have a bias coming into the day because it just makes sense. I always like to align the higher time frame with the lower time frame. It just makes my life and my trades so much easier. So let's go ahead and keep replaying out the mode. So as you can see, we come up to OTE roughly back out to this fair value gap here, and really pretty strong reaction off of it. Nothing too crazy though. And you'll notice we failed to displace through this one as well. This one's at 956. So we do displace through it on ES, but we failed to on NQ. So obviously I'm not going to short this or anything. I'm still waiting for more confirmation. This candle dumps lower. Pretty much just nothing. Rebalances immediately and just kind of starts to flush lower. And yeah, no entry there obviously, but the reason I wouldn't take this inversion here, even though we are reacting from a key PD array, and we do have an SMT at the highs there with this high here at 945. But the reason I didn't want to take this short here is because, I mean, this candle just dumped so far down inside this range, and ES already ran the low, so it made no sense to short that. Even though it did end up playing out, that's not going to work, you know, 60-70% of the time. It's just not. Realistically, you just want to align the lower time frame with the higher time frame, and you will see a huge difference. So just keep on waiting. Now at this point, we've already tapped into our 4-hour inefficiency, and we did have an SMT with that, or we did not have an SMT, sorry, with that 4-hour gap. We both ES and NQ both tapped it, and now at this point I was just waiting for more confirmation, rejection, see what we wanted to do, right? So we reject off of this mitigation here, and I'm just keeping on waiting. Yeah, there's not much for me to trade here, right? So now we come back into this fair value gap here, and we actually fail to run into this fair value gap here on ES. You'll notice here, this candle at 1026, or 1027, sorry, that candle fails to run 1013 low right there. So we fail to run it. We have an SMT there, but obviously there's no inverses. There's no nothing to tell us that price wants to go up yet. So we still wait. We still wait. We still wait. Obviously, we didn't take this inversion because I'm long for the day, and this is just accumulating. That's the stupidest short in your life. If you took that, I'm sorry. You just reevaluate what you're doing and don't trade in a choppy time frame, like in a choppy. I mean, this was what, from 10:18 up to like, yeah, it was chopping for like a solid 30 minutes. So obviously, don't get in on the chop. You have to wait for the time to align and wait for your model, right? So get a nice displacing candle up, which is kind of telling you, okay, we might want to start going towards our draw on liquidity. So we end up closing down here, right? We create a wickless open, right? So at this point, I'm like, okay, this is awesome. 99% of the time, we always give these wickless opens a wick. And what I mean by that is we'll trade back up to it to kind of give it a wick, if that makes sense. So obviously we inverse this. Not smart to take because we still have a protected low down here. So we're still going, we're still going. Now, at this point, I saw that we actually failed to take this low on NQ, right? But if you look at the 1051 low on ES, we actually did run this low here at 1027. So we ran that low, had an SMT. So now my eyes are just targeting this. I want to see this high here, but I need an entry, right? So what am I waiting for? I need an inversion. That's literally it. So boom, we have obviously we have a gap, a very small gap there. You can go to the 2 minute and look as well. We have a 2 minute gap up here. We have a 2 minute gap down here. You go to the 3 minute, and we have a 3 minute up here. So go back and see this 3 minute right here. This is not a good long because why? Well, for one, it's choppy conditions, so you can't just automatically assume that we're not going to get a pullback again after having this type of displacing candle. And basically, ES at the same time was slightly hesitant to trade through this fair value gap. So what I did was I waited for a pullback, which was crazy because this low was protected and we got within a point of that low, right? So I kept waiting. Obviously, the 3 minute did inverse, but the 2 minute never did. We had a huge wick here. It did inverse it a little bit, but not enough confirmation for me to want to long that. So we just keep on waiting. We're patient. So what happens? Boom, we create a fair value gap. And now we have this protected low. We had a retrace that stopped out these longs here. Everyone that was long here had their stops here. They got ran out, right? And now we have an inversion. And look what time it is. Oh my God, it's 11 o'clock. Blah, bro. Open low, high, close, and boom. See, 11:21. You can go all the way to the end of the hour, which is roughly right there. So beautiful open, low, high, close on the hourly candle for 11 a.m. And you can see clearly open, low. That's where we got in, longed it up. Obviously not all the way up to there, but secured our profits for the day. And yeah, that was pretty much it, guys. I hope this was educational. I hope you found this useful, and I hope you can use this in your own trading, because what I use and how I view the markets and how I trade, I think is, not super complicated, and it's something that you can use yourself to find success. So if you guys haven't already, make sure to go and join the Discord down below. I'm going to be having a lot of new stuff in there coming into the new year. Tons of like-minded people in there. Go ahead and join. It's totally free right now. As well, go ahead and drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And yeah, I'll leave you guys with that. Probably going to be done for the week, but we'll see how the whole thing pans out. And I'll catch you soon. Peace.